The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben. Peter, he graduated from forestry school in like Germany. Not sure what degree he specifically holds, but reading about him, he worked as like a government wood ranger in the Rhineland region, which is like the southwest region of Germany. He began publishing books popularizing scientific research about ecology and forest management. He has received many awards, prestige awards in the environmental field, and he also has like a forest academy for like education and advocacy. This book was published in 2015 in German and was later translated into English. It went on to become both a New York Times bestseller and an international success, having been translated into more than like 40 languages and reaching readers throughout the world. The Hidden Life of Trees, to me, the purpose of this book is to show general readers that trees play a significant and active role in the environment. It challenges the idea that trees are just a simple plant, more of a like complex organism that interact, communicate, and support each other in like many ways. They're all interconnected within the ecosystems, and their presence is part of a larger natural system that developed over time and not something that's just random or isolated. His book is structured quite differently from other nonfiction science books I've read. Each chapter is actually relatively short, usually between like 5 and 25 pages. Focuses on its own topic, exploring like different aspects of how trees live and interact. For example, the language of trees. He explains how trees communicate with one another. Of course, not through language, not through speech, but through chemical signals such as scent. In the chapter Social Security, focus on trees support and protect one another, and one of those ways is how it's transferring nutrients. A tree with an excessive amount of sugar could transfer one to a tree with a lower amount of sugar. This exchange occurs underground through the root system. But the writing style is very descriptive. But the way he writes as if these trees are animals. He writes as if these trees are like animals or like humans. Wohlleben uses the concept of parent trees to explain how older and larger trees can act as like caregivers and protect within that like forest community. Quite interesting. But actually, one of my favorite chapters was the Mysterious of Moving Water. Now, this chapter explains how water and nutrients from the roots traveling all the way up through capillary action, which are these tiny tubes that water goes through. Water is traveling up, it's not being pumping up, but the water is being pulling up from the roots and then evaporating on the leaves. The term used is called transpiration. With this, it's going against gravity of like the natural physical laws. This makes trees more vulnerable of having problems that he explains in that chapter. There is one chapter called the Woody Climate Control. Is about how like trees adjust and adapt to different climates, especially those extreme challenges in temperature or moist or regional climate. The chapter of immigrants. Okay, this is actually an interesting chapter. Many trees that thrive in Europe today were actually introduced by humans over like the past few centuries, often being brought back as those botanical souvenirs by early plant hunters. One example he mentioned is like the Douglas fir, which originally comes from like North America, but was later introduced to Europe and that adapted successfully. But not all trees introduced to new regions adapt successfully. One example was like the black cherry tree, which was brought from North America to Europe. It may not be widely documented example. There are cases where this tree struggled to thrive in unfamiliar environments. The difference in climate, the soil conditions, the absence of native pets, or those competitions can all affect the tree's growth. In some instances, the tree may grow poorly, becoming crooked, lopsided, or failing to reach its full size. This highlights the challenges of some introduced species faces when trying to integrate into that new ecosystem. Really good chapter. But my final thoughts of this book is made up to 36 chapters, just under 300 pages. And I remember saying that, I was like, yeah, I'm never going to finish this book. But I was wrong. It's written in that observational, almost teaching style type of way, makes it engaging and easy to follow. I guess the best way for me to describe it is like reading it. It feels like you're being on a guided walk through the forest with the author pointing out details the way. I've read this book for, I have this book for over 5 years now, read it from front to back twice. I could definitely say it's definitely changed my outlook of Mother Nature and trees. This book highlights like the broader connection within the ecosystem, showing how trees interact not just with each other, but with like fungi, insects, with all living beings, all interconnected. But yet many of the threats facing nature are caused by humans rather nature itself. Now, if you have read this book, please let me know in the comments below what you think about it, or if you plan on reading it. If you enjoyed the content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Till next time.